Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, June 16th. My name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect partly sunny skies, possible thunderstorms, and a high of 91. We could also see African dust arrive in Texas next week, causing irritating symptoms for some. Bexar County commissioners will hear an update on issues related to COVID-19 and law enforcement at a regular meeting this morning. The public agenda includes an update on a $6.5 million grant program for small businesses hurt financially by the pandemic. Governor Greg Abbott and Executive Vice Chancellor for Health Affairs of the University of Texas System, John Zerwas, will provide an update on Texas hospital capacity at 1 p.m. We'll have that covered, plus the evening City Council coronavirus update with local leaders. And now for the top headlines of the day. Southeast Nursing and Rehabilitation Center resident Jose Velasquez was diagnosed with COVID-19 on March 26. About 3 weeks later, he was dead from the virus. Up until an hour before his death, his two adult children alleged in a wrongful death lawsuit that the Southeast staff assured Velasquez's family that he was doing just fine and showed no symptoms of the disease. Their suit accuses the facility of gross negligence by exposing Velasquez to an extreme degree of high risk in light of near certainty of his exposure to COVID-19 as a result of its malfeasance. Velasquez, 79, is among 18 Southeast patients who have died from the coronavirus, the most deaths of any nursing home in San Antonio. A Bexar County Sheriff's Office detention deputy was fired for using excessive and unnecessary force in striking a jail inmate more than a year ago. Deputy Brandon Doge, a 4-year veteran of the department, was responding to an incident in the Bexar County Jail and struck an inmate in the head after the man was already complying. This was not the first time Doge, 27, had faced scrutiny for the use of force. Reporter Emil Eaton dug into the records detailing his termination. School districts now preparing for their budgets are still waiting for clarity from the Texas Education Agency on how enrollment-based state funding will be calculated in a new education environment shaped by the coronavirus pandemic. They'll be reopening classrooms in the fall, and many plan to continue offering families the option of remote learning at home. Since they can't predict how many students will be in schools, any return to the old way of basing state funding on average daily attendance would make their finances unworkable or distance learning unaffordable. Aaliyah Malik and Krista Toralva checked in with leaders of some of Bexar County's largest school districts to find out their plans for the school year to come. Columnist Elena Ayala writes, on Saturday, 230 new cases of the coronavirus were reported, the highest ever number of new cases recorded in Bexar County since March. As the White House tries to pretend a pandemic away, Texans have chosen denial. They've succumbed to the longing for friends and relatives and gatherings. Businesses were all too eager to oblige them to support individual liberties over continued precautions. The unmasked close encounters will show up in local data in coming weeks. As important as Black Lives Matter protests have been, those who have not worn masks or stayed 6 feet or more apart could be next. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more in your Express News subscription. The Supreme Court on Monday ruled that employers cannot fire workers because they are gay or transgender, a major victory for LGBTQ rights. Many in San Antonio's gay and transgender communities envision a vastly changed workplace with the decision. A new organization called Fix SAPD wants to roll back collective bargaining and arbitration rights for San Antonio police officers. They plan to put the idea before voters in the fall. Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez said his office has strengthened its scrutiny of police use of force and now presents evidence on all police-involved shootings to a grand jury to determine whether charges are warranted. An anesthesiologist and professor at UT Health San Antonio developed a new medical device to reduce the risk of medical workers when intubating COVID-19 infected patients. His product is already on the way to hospitals. Hours after Texas Land Commissioner George P. Bush went on national TV to warn protesters to keep their hands off the Alamo, fellow statewide elected Republican Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick took to social media to blast Bush's management of the landmark. A Bexar County court held eviction hearings Monday for the first time since mid-March, when San Antonio's government leaders stalled most evictions to prevent families from ending up homeless amid the global pandemic. County Commissioner Kevin Wolf writes, "While this horrific pandemic has taught us many things, it has certainly brought a new spotlight to the desperate need for more and better technological infrastructure." Edgewood Independent School District, one of the poorest districts in the state, is finally back in the hands of an elected board. The Express News editorial board says it's a sign the district is back on track. The U.S. Supreme Court slammed the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals on Monday as it sided with a Houston man on death row who says his defense attorney's shoddy work undermined his case. Texas A&M University System created a $100 million scholarship fund aimed towards making the college system's 11 universities more inclusive and reflective of the state's demographics, according to a university release. University of the Incarnate Word Interim Athletic Director Richard Duran has been elevated to permanent status, UIW President Thomas Evans announced on Monday morning. For the past few weeks, massage therapists and physical therapists have had to navigate their skin-on-skin professions with extra precautions, such as temperature checks at the door, face masks for clients and staff, and lots of hand washing. Still, one expert said certain types of massages should remain on hold for now. And now, the fun stuff. San Antonio artists paint face masks for display and sale at Centro Cultural Aztlán. The masks will be sold through the organization's Facebook page starting 7 p.m. Saturday. The proceeds will benefit the artists. Folks who want to see them in person could check them out in an exhibit in Centro Galería Expresión through the end of the month. Better grilled steaks start with high-quality meat and keeping things simple. Welcome to Chuck Blunt's Steak 101. San Antonio's progressive Mexican restaurant Mixly and its co-owner Chef Rico Torres will share the national spotlight for the first episode of Top Chef, Judge Padma Lakshmi's new show, which will stream on Hulu. After playing 4 years at St. Mary's Hall, Avery Eugster and Ben Eugster will compete in college basketball together. A 13-year-old Texas boy caught an 11-foot, 6-inch, nearly 900-pound tiger shark during a recent 36-hour offshore trip in Port Aransas. This was your Express Briefing for Tuesday, June 16th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage of all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast in your Apple Podcast apps. It will really help the show, and have a wonderful day.